baseball wise, we only have a 4-game slate, but I'm playing it like it's a regular one. But we also have a little 3-game NBA and a 4-game NHL going tonight. And at 11 o'clock tonight, I'm going to be going. I'm going to be going live to see what's what, see what's the sweat, what's the yap about, or whatever it is. With respect to the golf tomorrow, for a lot of reasons, I'm not putting up sheets today, but I'm probably going to come up with something. It's a really tough format. It's got a lot of variance to it. So I'm probably going to end up fading like Cantlay and like the top play or something like that. But so I wouldn't really wouldn't listen to me. But at 11 o'clock, just to keep it consistent, I am going to go through my golf stuff, whatever I decide to do, which it's probably going to be guessing, but that's pretty much where I'm at. So you want to start with baseball?
Yeah, let me just vent that I'm a little frustrated because
no, we're not allowed to revisit the afternoon. Not allowed to.
No, it's still going on.
No, we this is what happens. We got to deal with what's in front of us right now. We can't make any changes in the afternoon slate, right?
Go over whatever.
I want to make sure that we get through this then. All right, fine. Go ahead. What do we got?
It's an hour away and there's 4 games.
Okay, what do you got?
5 minutes. Oh, I just thought I was going to win the 777 and I didn't.
Oh.
I did the exact thing I said. I stacked St. Louis without Arenado and Goldschmidt, and I just happened to have the wrong first baseman, and then Max Scherzer getting ejected in the 4th inning was something that was unpredictable, and I was the only player in the top 5 who had those 2, and it looked like it was going to be a 6-figure day, and it's not, so it was a little frustrating. But it was a very profitable day. For the night slate, we can go game by game if you want to.
Well, hold on. Let me see. Now that you brought it up, so who is going to win that slate? Meanwhile, the guy who's going to win has Scherzer.
No, it doesn't matter. But he didn't have Scherzer and Steele, and at the time, I still had it bad. It was one of those with the most remaining things in the top 5.
The guy who's going to win has Scherzer and Singer.
No, I know, I understand, but that's also why I had a chance because I had the Scherzer Steele, and I still had Moustakas. I didn't play the Arizona guys, so I would have had a chance. I'm just saying, like, I also didn't enter 50 lineups like Hishbu did, so I entered 1. Anyway, I don't know why we're getting into this. So anyway, as far as the night slate goes, it's pretty straightforward if you in terms of what you're like supposed to do hitting wise. Pitching, I don't think it is, and I don't think that even what you're supposed. And I'm trying to get off of what you're supposed to do hitting wise. So I'm having trouble getting off of Minnesota. I really want to try to take it to pick on Kluber. That's what I'm probably going to do. And
wait. Let's just start over for a second. So you want to get off of Minnesota? I didn't know people were going to be on Minnesota. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, the way I have these guys ranked,
DFS NHL projections have been updated.
Sorry.
They should be available on Sabres.
I mean, I have clearly like the most popular will be the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what I'm.
And then I have like Toronto, Houston. I do see Minnesota getting ownership, but I wouldn't play them. I would probably be more inclined to play like Toronto, Houston, or the Angels than to play Minnesota, I think.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just think I like Minnesota significantly better. I also think there's absolutely no reason to stack here, but you certainly can. I mean, there's no reason to go out of your way to stack. But I mean, slate, like this is what I was saying. We're 4 minutes in and we're basically, there's not much to talk about on this slate. We can go through everything. I happen to like Minnesota and want to take advantage of Kluber. I also think Minnesota with a huge park upgrade and everything, I always try to get there with them. They're very affordable. They're way too cheap in every spot, and they're not getting as much ownership as they should. Whereas you have a team like Kluber's terrible, in my opinion, and just gets away with it sometimes. Toronto is going to be more popular than Minnesota, and they're playing in a much worse hitter's park against a much better pitcher. So there's my argument for that one. Baltimore, I think actually I thought was going to get more ownership than they are because I think people are playing Mackenzie Gore, which I have no problem with Gore, but I also think Baltimore is very viable. And I'm personally not getting to as much of the Angels, but I don't have any issue with it. The Angels and Yankees, I initially thought the Angels would be co-chalk, but they're not. Let me just double check before I say that. They're still pretty popular. So I was going to try and get a little different and play elsewhere. So I don't know. That's my argument for the Twins being my main favorite spot. I also think you could just pick out some favorite bats here, and you would have. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's a 4-game slate. You're not going to get a million home runs, and well, certainly the correlation makes sense to stack. I don't think that you absolutely have to. I don't know. I like Minnesota. I like Baltimore, and I just had to basically ignore the Yankee. I think I'm using Volpe like it's just as a one-off, just because it just makes too much sense, and I know he'll be popular. But he's the exact kind of player I like to use as a one-off because he steals bases, and he will be able to steal against Griffin Canning. I think the Yankees, more times than not, are the best team on this slate, but not enough. Though interesting one to me is that how quickly perception can change. And, well, maybe not, actually. It's weird because Barrios is getting ownership, but so is Houston really getting that much ownership? No way. Houston's not getting much ownership. And it's interesting because it wasn't that long ago on big slates, people were stacking against Barrios with far inferior teams. So just from like a game theory perspective, I think that Houston's kind of an interesting stack.
Yeah, I like both sides of that. I like Houston and I like Barrios.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to run into on this kind of a slate.
Yeah.
Favorite pitchers for you?
Yeah, so the ones that rate the best are Gore and Kyle Bradish. What I'm actually getting when I build for now is I'm actually getting a decent amount of Griffin Canning, and the reason why is because the Yankees are so popular.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like I'm playing right now Bradish in my lineup. When I posted in the thing. But the weird part is, like, I'm not even sure that's right. Like, Bradish, got injured. He came out the DL, but the injury. But he also did. He did throw 83 pitches his last minor league outing before he got geared up, so he should be pretty stretched out. But it feels kind of weird that we'd be playing him over Canning. And also, as strong as this Yankee lineup is, there are strikeouts in this lineup. Like, if they don't hit you like really hard, you can get your 5 innings with 7 Ks from your 6,100 guy. That's very doable. So maybe I should revisit that one. I'm a little surprised that no one is going to play Brito. He's by far looking to me like he's going to be the lowest owned. And I think that Canning and Brito are just, all these guys are pretty meh, with the exception of Joe Ryan, who's an awesome pitcher and probably should be like 75% owned, but will be like 35 or 40 because people have this fear of Boston, and they are decent at home hitting wise, but it's just a little bit exaggerated what people think that this Boston team actually is. Look at the names of who's playing rather than the name on the jersey, as I was pointing out about the Dodgers earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of I think that stuff's going to come out of that Toronto game. I'm playing. I like Barrios with Toronto as well. That's my deal right now.
Yeah, to defend that argument, Garcia has not looked good this year. I do think he's a good pitcher, but he hasn't looked good this year. So there is an argument for maybe he still hasn't figured out like how to get there. And you're going to get, considering the size of the slate, a reasonably low ownership on Toronto. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I still have the Twins significantly lower owned than all these other teams, though. Pretty much. You don't think so?
I have the Twins lower than the Yankees, but then I have it really close, actually.
Between them and Baltimore, and then also
between like a lot of teams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have Minnesota, depending on which guys you use, like Minnesota, Houston, Toronto, Baltimore.
Yeah.
They're all the same pretty much. Yeah. And I have the Angels like a little below them. Maybe he's supposed to play the Angels after all that.
I understand. I'm kind of surprised that the Angels wouldn't be on. Like, how can you have the least owned pitcher on a 4-game slate and not have the other team be owned?
That's true, huh?
Make any sense?
No.
So I don't even know if I'm. Yeah, it just seems a little odd. I guess the reasoning being that they're expensive, but you can find ways around anything today. I did a thing where I went through and picked out my favorite hitter from each thing. No shocker for the Angels, it's Ohtani or Trout, but I actually think Rendon's a reasonable one-off. On the Yankees side, I think Volpe is my favorite. Volpe, however I'm supposed to say it. Willie Calhoun is 2K, and you don't necessarily need it today, but Willie Calhoun, like going back a few years, was a pretty damn good hitter. So they have some reasonable pricing options if you wanted to go there. But Volpe and Judge. On Baltimore, my favorite is what's his name, Rushman. If I had to pick another one, it would be Cedric Mullins, because no one's going to play Mullins because the price and the way that the construction is going to work. So he's going to be the forgotten spend up in the outfield. And maybe this is the time to make a case for I don't know about a Washington stack, but like nobody on Washington is going to be owned at all. Maybe. So I have Joey Meneses as the best hitter.
I mean, you might get some ownership on Alex Call just because he's 2,800 hitting first.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any way anybody's playing a 2,800. Like 2,800 in the outfield, I actually think would make him less owned.
Maybe.
Sort of like we had with the morning slate, like the more expensive Cardinals are 40% owned, but then you get Walker in the outfield because he's cheap is because you could afford him. It was too easy that you didn't need him. Was 8% owned. So Minnesota, it's Buxton. For Boston, it's always going to be Devers. And for Toronto, Matt Chapman or Vlad. And then for Houston, favorite bat is actually Tucker over Alvarez. And I really think that it's viable in this kind of a slate to do something weird. But I also think that there's enough blow-up spots where I would be comfortable 5-man stacking a lot of these teams even on a full slate. So I'm sort of just grappling with that decision. I felt good about the morning slate because I really liked the approach that I took for what I was trying to do, which was, like I said, and it's great when it works out and the guys don't hit multiple home runs, but just to skip the two most popular guys and still get the stack you want. And I think that's sort of, not similar to what I'd be doing here. I think what I'm going to probably end up with is like a 3-3-2 or 3-2-2-1 or something like that. But Minnesota definitely being the favorite of my team so far.
Is this one of those things where you don't want to play Bradish and Gore in the same lineup because they're in the same game?
Not at all. No problem with that one at all.
I'm really trying to think of whether I really have it in me to play both, like Barrios and Canning.
But this is the slate to do it, right? Like if you're going to make those kind of plays, I think that this is totally fine.
Yeah.
I think the Brito thing is maybe what I'm considering doing. Just an ownership thing,
Yeah.
It's just there's no reason why anybody should be much lower than anybody else. And I'll tell you what, I like Mackenzie Gore. I don't think it's any fun, any picnic to go pitch against Baltimore.
Nope.
Those guys are rough. That is a really, really strong lineup.
Dude, I'm going to tell you who's rough. Freaking Tigers. Tigers are rough.
Tigers are rough business.
You got to scratch, claw, just survive to beat that team.
Yeah, they're rough considering the fact that they're
the worst, right?
They're the worst. It's like it's like the Arizona from last year,
right?
There we go. I just got a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I just did is I left. What did I leave? 500 on the table and played Tucker actually 800 on the table. Like Tucker instead of Judge. Like nobody's going to do something like that. You don't need to go like on the 333. You don't need to go that far off the crazy board and everything.
Right. This is really funny. I don't know whether I want to play Barrios or Houston.
That's what you get with these little ones, right? I think that
Right.
I just forced in Brito into my, and I'm playing Joe Ryan. I actually think like if I was playing like a million lineups today, I think Joe Ryan would be in almost basically like 90% of them. He's just the best pitcher by a significant amount on the slate. I don't know what it is like with this guy. Every time we do another slate, it's like that people just don't respect him. But all he does, even like when he gets hit, it doesn't matter because he'll strike out 10 guys. You know what I mean? Like he put up 27 against Houston while giving up 4 runs in 6 innings. He's given up a home run in every start he's made this year. Maybe play Joe Ryan with somebody on Boston. How about that, Sheets?
How did Steele end up doing today?
Good.
Nice.
Not like he's going to end up with 21 or something like that.
Okay.
Because they got a big lead and then it took him out. I think he was something.
How was Scherzer doing when he got ejected?
3 innings, no run. He got the bases loaded in the first inning and then basically threw like 15 pitches to get the next 2 innings out. So he was at no pitches and threw 3 innings, no runs, 4 Ks.
Cobb did well. I mean, well enough. Yeah, everybody did what we thought. I mean, like nothing. You know what I mean? Not nothing. Everybody did fine. You know, that was it. Everybody did fine.
Scherzer and Steele, when it happened, when Scherzer got ejected, it looked like they had a chance to break the slate. Steele still hadn't given up a hit yet, had 5 Ks.
Right.
And Scherzer had the potential, you know, he could have turned that 11 into like so the idea that the reason why it was frustrating is because those 2 were together and nobody else at the top or anywhere near the top had those 2 together. So that was why it was an exciting moment. And also it's always fun when you're, you know, cashing for 40,000 or whatever.
I'll tell you what's rough is the way that ball flies around in Coors.
Yeah. But the weird part is that what was there? There was only 2 home runs, right?
No, but that's not even that. It's just like it gets to the gap and it's like
exactly. Yeah. I'm just reading a note real quick. Sheets. I'll jump into the NBA in 1 second. I gotta take a look at this.
Yeah. Oh my God! All of a sudden, like Kevin Love is now like 100% owned. I mean, really? That's the new reality.
He's going to be set. Well, so that's what we do in the playoffs. Like everybody makes adjustments, and that's what they did in Game 1. They played him, and Tyler Hero is now gone. Right. So the way I'm looking at it, like you have to try and come up with a game script that makes sense for this NBA slate. And I think that like so for me, I can't get to anybody from Milwaukee. As I say over and over again, you want the one team that Giannis doesn't put up huge numbers against, it's Milwaukee. It's Miami.
Right.
He could still put up 65 or 70, but then again, like I'm not playing Giannis for the same price as Jokic here. I'm not playing either of them. The way I think you build is I am going to play Jimmy Butler. The only thing I'm worried about is Milwaukee just torching them with Giannis playing, because this is the kind of that feel. But Gabe Vincent, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, and Bam are really all difficult fades to me. The one thing you can do is play Lowry instead of Vincent.
I don't think I would do that.
I'll just point out that the first time that Vincent's outscored Lowry in a while was last game.
Yeah, I get it. But they seem pretty intent on having Vincent in there.
Except for in the must win, they played all with Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
So I'm just here to play devil's advocate. I mean, he's
okay.
Kyle Lowry. He put up 45 the other day or whatever it was. But the thing I like to do is to talk myself into Minnesota and Denver staying close and load up on that game. In terms of the spend ups, I like the idea of playing Conley, who's too cheap, with one of Edwards or Towns, and then running it back with Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. I think that makes the most sense to me because it's really hard to get all the spend ups. I have a hard time getting to the Lakers, but if I did, it would be Anthony Davis. D'Angelo Russell's also too cheap, but I think Mike Conley's a better play than D'Angelo Russell. Like if the game's close, I know Mike Conley's playing down the stretch. D'Angelo Russell, you could flip a coin. Right. I also don't see D'Angelo Russell being that much better of a play than Austin Reeves, who, if anybody watched the other game or watched the Laker play, Austin Reeves is no joke. He's a legit NBA guy. There's also a perception because Tillman didn't play that many minutes and they went with Aldama a lot the other night, that somehow Tillman is still projecting well, but nobody's playing or was projecting well. He's still projecting pretty well, and no one's playing him. I'm gonna look. They just lost the game. They're gonna counteract it by doing something different. In my opinion, one of those things is gonna be putting Tillman out there. So I like the idea of playing Tillman at 4,900 at reasonable low ownership. But it's weird that no one's playing Aldama either. So I actually almost want to go, oh, maybe I should be looking at Aldama. Ja would be my only guy over 9K that I would want to play, even though there's tons of great options. I just am having a hard time saying no to Jimmy Butler because I feel like he could easily be priced at 10.5. And, he was the highest scoring player, right? The last time that this slate took off. I think he was the highest scoring player on the slate. He had 64 fantasy points or whatever. Miami's unless Miami just gets smacked, which is totally possible, Jimmy Butler should end up without Hero. He should have 50 in his sleep, and Bam should go off too.
Who do you like in the games?
I like Memphis, assuming Ja plays in the Laker game. That game the other day was just totally a weird one, and I wouldn't put too much in it. The only thing I feel bad for Memphis is because they really are just beaten up. They don't have a lot of their guys. I like Milwaukee to cover in the Milwaukee-Miami game, and I have a very tough time with the spread in Denver and Minnesota because I feel like Denver either wins by 30 or it's like a down to the wire game. And they already beat them by 39, so. Maybe this is the one where they play them close, or 29, whatever the hell it was. So I'm stacking and hoping with the Minnesota side. I also think Minnesota it was just a blowout. It was just one of those games that happened. But I think Minnesota can create can cause some problems for Denver. Unfortunately, in order to do that, they're going to have to learn that, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be playing Rudy Gobert more than 24 minutes or something like that.
You don't like him at all tonight?
I actually do kind of for DFS, but I don't think that I was more talking about from a game perspective.
Now,
I actually think he's an interesting DFS play.
Do you have any issues playing Towns and Gobert together?
Not many, but you're kind of, because there's other reasonable spend ups that are all too cheap. But the thing is nobody's playing Gobert. So I really just don't think anybody's going to play him. And he's a little too close price-wise to some of that's why, to some of the other guys who have, bigger ceilings. He's just real close to Towns. The fact that he's 600 less than Towns feels a little funny. But I don't have a problem with it fundamentally, but I just think there's probably better ways to spend your money than that. But I actually don't have an issue with it. If I ended up with it, I wouldn't take it out, but I wouldn't leave it in my biggest buy-in or something.
Tell me more about your take on Kevin Love.
By the way, I want to add something. Some things I've got to adjust my lineups because Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a phenomenal play if he starts. I think there's some speculation to whether or not that happens. And it's weird that how quickly perceptions change. He was I think he was 90% owned at the same price the other day, and he's projected to be 9% owned. Pretty phenomenal. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, I have a little of him.
I think I'm going to prioritize him and make him a must play for me because I just think that's. But again, you got Conley only at 54. So Kevin Love, the argument is that one very good fantasy point per minute guy, played really well in game one. Probably be weird it'd be a weird game script for him not to play 24 minutes tonight, in my opinion. I also think you could make an argument for why couldn't they fill out some of those hero minutes with Oladipo? That's my super, super large field idea. Just feels a little bit wrong. But it also plays the blowout angle well. So I wouldn't play Oladipo probably with Kevin Love in the lineup, but I might skip Gabe Vincent, play Oladipo, and pretend for the blowout, and then Oladipo sort of brings him back, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Then he stays on the court because he's 3,600 and unowned, and we have no Tyler Hero. If this was a regular season game, Oladipo would be projected to play 26 minutes or something like that because of the situation and them being attached to Vincent. The problem is, I think without Vincent, they are going to need more. Without Hero, they're going to need more shot creation, which leads me more to Oladipo. So I just think it's kind of an interesting pivot. It wouldn't surprise me if Oladipo outplayed minutes-wise some of these other guys who are projecting for nothing.
And tell me again what you were saying about Xavier Tillman.
Xavier Tillman didn't get a lot of the run down the stretch the other day, partly because Aldama can stretch the floor, but the sort of treating him like he's projected for 27 minutes tonight and he played 21 the other night, but like he's getting the low ownership, even though he's projecting pretty well. I think there's a reasonable chance that Memphis makes adjustments and leaves him on the court more than Aldama in this game. That's my prediction of what they do.
Yeah, I have a funny 2x2 that I'm struggling with. Like I have, on the one hand, I could upgrade. Who was the point guard I could have used? Shoot, who did I have? Hang on a minute. I had D'Angelo Russell and Gobert, and I could trade that in for like Jamal Murray and like Xavier Tillman.
Yeah, something like, I mean, I actually like both of those. Like a little bit.
Right.
They both make sense to me. Actually, they make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The problem now, I'm worried though about this. I think I might have to pretend this Milwaukee game turns into a blowout, because otherwise I end up with like 4 Miamis and no run back in all my lineups. And that just feels like, and they're all chalky.
Right.
Doesn't feel right.
Or maybe instead of the 4,900, I could spend on Tillman. I'm just talking about like just with any position. Maybe I play 5,100 for Lowry.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that was my original thinking. But I also think you can make an interesting case for Oladipo because of what I said about shot creation. I mean, you got to score a lot of points to beat Milwaukee in general, because they just play too fast. They play great defense, but they play fast, and it's especially when Giannis plays, obviously. Yeah, I think I'm talking myself into what I'm going to do here. I'm going to play I'm going to play Edwards and Towns tonight. I just feel like that's fifth. If they don't combine for 90, I'm actually going to be, if the game's close, I'll be very surprised. If the game's not close, all bets are off anyway. But I kind of like that idea. But then I really want Alexander Walker also. Struggling with the Minnesota side of things. Like, that's my biggest struggle right now. So if I did this and then played Bam, would that save me anything?
And for whatever reason, I don't want to play. I mean, whatever. I don't want to play 4. If I could avoid playing like 4 guys from a team, I will. But a shortened up slate with that.
Yeah, the problem is it's just the Miami guys that are a little bit tricky. And I'm specifically not playing Kevin Love in my big buy right now. But even still, like it keeps trying to give me 4. Like every time I try and rebuild, it looks like wants me to play 4 Miami guys.
Right.
One guy we didn't talk about at all is Bruce Brown, and I think that he's a guy who should be played he's like almost a cashy type of play who's getting like tournament ownership, Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do is the two Minnesotas, 2 Denvers in my lineups, and then double center it up with Tillman and Bam. That feels pretty good to me.
So wait, so Aldama got 24 minutes. And Tillman only got 22.
Yeah.
That's the story, huh?
And down the stretch, it was Aldama.
Did they win?
No, they lost.
They lost.
So I'm going for them to come back. Sort of like what happened with Brooklyn the other night. And people were like, oh, my God, I can't believe people all played Day'Ron Sharpe and writing stuff like that. I'm like, well, he was a terrifically logical play until Brooklyn did something for the first time they've done all year and played 5 out to try and get to Embiid. And it kind of almost worked. If they actually made shots, it would have helped. But it almost worked. I kind of like this build I got here, and I think it's going to be low owned enough to where I can get away with it. I really like the Nickeil Alexander Walker play, even though really like is a strong word, but it's like, I don't know. I love getting the guy who is 90% at 9%. You know what I mean? Just feels like it can't be wrong. He still, as long as he starts. If he doesn't start, all bets are off. Don't even need to go.
Who do I like more? Caleb Martin, Aldama, Vincent. That's a question I have to answer, actually.
I mean, Vincent's the right answer, but like, I don't know if, maybe to get something weird going, maybe not Vincent. I don't know. Honestly, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I am going to enter an Oladipo lineup in the big one, and not in the big buy-ins, but in the other one.
I think I kind of like what I'm doing here. And by the way, I will also recommend Rui Hachimura.
I would actually go the other way for this one and play Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt?
Just because it's like everybody's on one side of something, and Vanderbilt's now 3,900 versus Rui's, what is Rui, 5K now, or 45? No, he's like 45. Yeah, Rui's totally reasonable. I mean, he's not going to do what he did last game. He literally had the best game of his entire life. Not fantasy-wise, just in real life. Like, he played perfect basketball.
How did Terrence Mann do last night?
I don't remember what he ended up with, to be honest with you. I was very focused. It wasn't like anything special, whatever it was. He was on the court, which is what you can ask for, really. This would be, I actually think that I'm going to reconsider some of my thinking and maybe play some, like 25 lineups and do some scripting or 30 lineups or something as we go forward in the playoffs. Because I'm starting to notice there are a lot more paths than it looks like, and we're just seeing it over and over again. And the adjustments and betting on the adjustments happening, whether you're right or wrong, it's certainly worth the gambles, It's interesting. So D'Angelo Russell tonight, here's another great example. D'Angelo Russell was 5% owned. Now there's 4 games versus 3, whatever, okay, on Sunday. But he was 4% owned, 5% owned. D'Angelo Russell, but he played well and he played down the stretch, so now he's going to be 60% owned. But that's fluid. That could go the other direction in a minute. It's just about how it's working. That's it. I feel like I'm talking myself into this Oladipo play quite a bit. I actually think that's a really strong play. Reeves, Oladipo, Conley. Yeah. I would make sure if you think that, I think you have to play one. Like, I think playing one of Conley or Nickeil Alexander-Walker is not a must, but it's what I would be doing. I think trying to play one of Edwards or Towns would be where I would be wanting to spend up in addition to the Jimmy Butler play, or separately. Gabe Vincent is the most logical value to me. The get weird ones of Oladipo or the Kyle Lowry at a higher price. I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I'm like I just mentioned that one. I love Bruce Brown because I think he ends up like 10% owned, and I just think he's going to put up 25 fantasy points with upside. Yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at.
The Kevin Love in the big buy-in is a decision for me.
Yeah, I'm not playing him in my big buy-in.
I know,
but I mean, look, he's in all my other lineups. He doesn't have to make all of his. He made 4 out of his first 5 threes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, he was like 1% owned because no one thought he'd play. It's just that's what you can get away with the NBA playoffs is like people have this perception because this is what happened, but the truth is coaches are really good and these guys are really smart and they're playing for a lot of money and a lot of things and a lot of history. They're going to make adjustments. So what adjustments will they make?
Yeah.
Is Ja out? I don't think Tyus is worth a look. So if Ja's out, that whole slate's changed. Yeah,
is that really true? Wait. Is Ja out?
Yeah, that's what Sketch is saying right now in Discord.
Well,
then I no longer like Memphis, although I think they still can win.
Well, now is completely different animal.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Now you should be playing Tyus Jones.
Yep. I agree with that. I also think you're going to have to think about everybody on Memphis now.
That more Aldama, Desmond Bain, like all that stuff.
Yeah. I still don't have there he is out. Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah. So maybe give the projections a minute update. I mean, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. just torched the Lakers the other night. It's still hard to get to him at 9,300. Oh boy, you're going to need a lot of Memphis bodies. Well, I mean, first things first about the Ja news is to get Ja out of your lineups.
That's a good idea.
That's my words of wisdom. Oh boy. Yeah, Tyus is going to be a tough one, a tough guy for me to fade today.
I don't know if I could do 8,400 for Desmond Bain, but
I could do it.
Yeah,
it is a lot, though. I mean, you have a lot of good players. Like, I mean, but I mean, who else is going to score? Like, they're going to score points. It's going to be Jaren Jackson and him. And I mean, Tyus, even as good as he is, like, it's not like he's like a guy who's going to go in there and get like 30 real life points. Bain could get like 40 real life points.
Right.
Tyus Jones will be the best play on the slate, though, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I also think that weirdly helps it helped like Tillman, it helped all the other guys too. Just because of the not as many minutes thing. And if Jaren Jackson, who always gets in foul trouble again, then you could actually consider some Tillman Aldama lineups. I don't think I would go that far, but you definitely can consider it. Maybe I would go that far. I don't know. Who else do we need to play from there?
So I want to put my stuff on the State Kings tonight.
Oh, John Conchar and Luke Kennard are both going to look up.
Oh, Luke Kennard. Yeah. Let's wait. I mean, the game doesn't start till 7:30.
Yeah, plenty of time. My mom is here, though. I'm going to go say what's up.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just gonna get my build in first, and I'll post what I was doing in the premium.
Doing my for everybody that cares is listening. I'm tightening up my NHL thing right now, and I'll tell you guys what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna go eat. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go eat in like 5 minutes. In 3 minutes? Is that right?
Not even 5 minutes.
Looks like I'm going to be eating in 3 minutes, I think. And then I'll come back to the lineups.
All right. Well, have a nice dinner. I'll see you later on, man.
All right. Sounds good.
Good luck, guys.